What up, it's your boy, AsisGalvin, coming at you guys with episode 8. Now, if you picked up on the last episode, you kind of know where we were at. So I'm going to pick up right from there, and we're going to go into a couple different things. So, I look outside, and I see her outside. I'm like, all right. Now, what she's wearing out there, she's wearing like this little, like, looks like a tube top kind of, with these like little booty shorts. It looked like pajamas. Essentially, she was wearing pajamas outside. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go out there. I'm like, oh, are you dead ass serious? I'm like, yo, you're really serious about this? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, all right, let's go in my room then. Let's go upstairs because I'm not sitting outside. It's 12 o'clock. It's not necessarily like the greatest temperature outside. I'm like, all right, let's go in my room. So we go up there. We're chilling. She's making passes at me to kind of try to do something, but I just don't. I'm on some like, I'm still kind of pissed off at the simple fact that, you know, like, you still wasn't messing with a dude until he got a car. So I was still on some like, nah, dog. So, you know, I chill with her for maybe like 30 minutes. And I'm just like, yo, like, I got stuff to do tomorrow. I got to be out. I got mad things to do. I'm going to have to holler at you, though. She's looking at me first off, she's looking at me like I'm crazy because any other dude that was in there, everybody in that complex kind of wanted to get with her, but just couldn't. And the fact that she didn't start talking to me until I actually got a whip made me mad. And then on top of that, the fact when she was chilling with me like one-on-one, and I'm not trying to do anything, I guess that made her like really feel like she wasn't wanted. It kind of upped her wanting to be with me or get with me rather, whatever it was. Regardless, I was like, yo, you got to go. So she leaves out. I'm thinking to myself like, damn, that could have been crazy. Like I could have really went like and did something. Hold on a second. So I'm like, yo, I could have really went and did something, but I didn't want to do nothing. So I was like, yeah, we know what, whatever. The reason being is just a simple fact. Like I said, I was just pretty much, I'm spiteful. So I was just kind of like, nah, dog, like, nah, son, screw that. So what ends up happening is the next day, I literally when I go outside in the morning, she's already outside. I'm like, how the hell are you out here before me? Mind you, I left out at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. No, it was like 7 or 8, and she was outside. I don't know what she was doing out there, but she told me that she's like, oh, I'm going off to, I don't know where she was going. She's like, I'm going somewhere for like the next couple of days. When I get back, I want to see you again. Because, you know, she's like, she didn't say anything other than that, but she was like, yeah, I want to see you again. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So she goes out. Mind you, let's go back real quick. The girl that I was telling you guys about that was coming from Queens all the way up here. I was telling you guys her name was Trish. That's another name for Misha. So we're going to go keep it Misha, so that way I don't get you guys confused. Misha is the girl I met in the mall a little bit after I first met Mia. And, you know, the girl that was with the friend that was Puerto Rican with the mustache. All right. So Misha was the one coming back and forth. Now, I get to a point a couple days later where I don't even tell anybody about any of this. I get to a point a couple days later where I'm like, all right, yo, I'm starting to feel a certain way. I'm like, yo, I'm not really feeling this whole thing. I'm getting like mad restless and getting semi-depressed, but I'm not really depressed. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, yo, all these girls are around. I have all these people to choose from, but the girl I actually want, I can't talk to. I can't really see or talk to. I just started getting on rebel mode. When I mean rebel mode, I was on some, all right, it's time to start using anything and everything to my advantage. So I essentially got on like my grind mode. So first thing I did was with Misha, which is I pretty much went into like, all right, well, I'm gonna start doing whatever the hell I want. I'm going pretty much. I was just in my wolf mode. Let's call it wolf mode. Turned to a wolf. So I was just on everything. So I was just like, whenever she'd come through, I'd be on it. Another interesting thing about Misha is that she played it smart. She knew how I felt about like Mia and everything, but what Misha did was smart. She would get in with the family. Like I said, Mia never really got to see my family too much. Misha was getting in with Steve, Steve was my mom's husband at the time. So she was getting in good with him. She was getting in good with my mom. And every single time, like, you know, she would show up, she'd either have something for them or she'd bring them something or, you know, she'd be like greeting them with all smiles. There'd be times where she'd come over to see me. She'd, of course, bring me my strawberry cheesecake. But then she'd go ahead and like talk to my parents for like a good hour or two. So they started loving her. They were just like, oh my God, we love Misha. So you know, Misha's working her way in. She's headed for the long haul. She's like, yeah, I know he's up to whatever he's up to, but I'm gonna get in here and get in good with them. So she's doing that. Meanwhile, I'm still working. I'm starting to even get into rebel mode with work, where I'm starting to get like, yo, this is getting mad annoying. Like, I'm just getting really I don't know if it's sexually frustrated or what it was, but I was definitely getting to the point where I had to get on my wolf stuff. So it began. I got on that wolf stuff. First thing I did, Jennifer comes back. She was going to be the first victim, so to speak. I told her, and I told her specifically, I'm like, yo, at this point, I told her straight up, I was like, look, when I didn't have a car, you wasn't trying to holler at me. I was like, now that I have a car and I'm relatively popular in this area, you want to mess with me. I'm like, she's like, no, it's not that. I'm like, you don't have to lie. You don't have to lie. I'm like, we don't have to lie about anything. I'm like, yo, that's perfectly fine with me. We can get whatever popping. Meet me tonight. She's like, all right. I'm like, cool. Because this is the night you wanted to meet, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then fine. We're going to do that. Mind you, it was the day after. I was like, meet me Friday. This was Thursday, I told her. I was like, meet me Friday night. So, Friday morning comes, Trish comes over. Misha comes all the way from Queens. She comes up. Like I said, she gets strawberry cheesecake. She meets me up there. I'm chilling with her. I'll never forget this. We're chilling, and she just comes out of nowhere, and she's like, you know, if I could have sex with anybody, who would be? And this is what she says out of nowhere. Mind you, we're just chilling. I'm playing live, actually. She says, I'm like, who? She's like, Ludacris. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, all right, that's cool. It didn't make me feel a certain way. I was just like, wonder why she's saying that. I was like, all right, well, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Gabrielle Union. That's what I said to her. She got tight. And I was just like, yeah, that's probably who I'd pick. At that time, that probably was who I would have picked. And we're just looking at each other. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell was that for? She's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, all right, so you're going to come out of here and just bring up some random, like, fact about who you would sleep with for no damn reason, right? I'm like, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then. Well, you can get out. She's like, what? I'm like, you can go. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, matter of fact, let me help you with that. I went and got my keys. I was like, all right, yo, I'll holler at you. And I left. Jumped in the whip, bounced. And I went to my job, and I put a 2-week notice in that I was quitting. Mind you, that place was going to close down in 3 weeks. I wasn't staying the whole 3 weeks because there was a season. It's only open for a season. They're going to close down in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. I was like, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in. Then I went back home, called up Toogie, like, yo, I'm coming through. I went to my hometown, chilled there, came back that night. Then Jennifer's outside when I come back. She looking mad good. Like, I never seen her dressed up like this in my life. She was like legitimately looking good. Like, she was just dressed up. Like, she had like she just looked nice. Her hair was nice. She had a nice little blouse thing on. She had this little, it was like a blouse that showed her belly, and then there was like a summer dress that was kind of like from her waist down to maybe like her calves. And then she had like these little heels on. So she was trying to look bad. I don't know why she was doing it. I know why she was doing it. But anyway, I see her and I'm like, okay, pay her no mind. I'm like, I walk right past her. She's like, Ace, runs over, grabs me. What are you doing? I'm like, going inside. She's like, what's the matter with you? I'm like, I'm not even in the mood. She's like, oh, are you still going to see me tonight? I'm like, I might. Whatever. Now, mind you, at this time, when I go inside, I guess everything was just catching up with me. I was just getting frustrated, yo. Like I said, I may be talking to all these other people, but they're not me. So I'm just getting really pissed off. I'm like, this chick's talking about dudes she wants to sleep with while she's right in front of me. This chick's over here just trying to talk to me because I'm popular. It's just like, I'm just going through these different motions, and I'm just like, this is annoying. So what I do is, that night comes, she's at my window. I'm like, oh, I look outside. She's wearing something similar to what she was wearing earlier. Just a little bit more like, not heels and things like that. We chill. We're talking. One thing leads to another. Something pops off. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Once it pops off, we're just kind of chilling. And it was pretty late. She left. Couple days later, I find out that she's a virgin. I found out she was a virgin. Later on, like a couple days later, and I didn't even know. And I'm like, I get instantaneously pissed off. Now, a rule about me that I've always had is I do not want to be the person to take somebody's virginity. just for some fact that if I'm not with you, I don't want to be remembered like that. That is a rule I've always had. It's always been there. Even before I even did anything with anybody, it's always been a rule. Never, ever, ever did I want to do that. So when I found that out, I was pretty pissed off. I was like, yo, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, yo, if you would have told me you were a virgin, I told her real talk. I was like, if you would have told me you was a virgin, I definitely wouldn't have did anything with you unless I was your man. She's looking at me like, but I wanted to. I'm like, you just wanted to because you're infatuated. I'm like, in reality, under any other circumstances, you wouldn't have. It goes right back to the fact that I'm just popular. I guess it's just, I'm the guy that you want that you can't have. So why not want the guy that has a girl around his neck? Why not want the guy that is wifed up to somebody else but not you? Why wouldn't you? It's human nature. You want what you can't have. That's what I explained to her. I was like, yo, you should have told me. And then when I found that out, I was just like, I was turned off to the whole idea. I kind of just stopped talking to her after that. I apologized to her. I'm like, damn it, yo. I'm sorry. Like, you should have told me. Well, I didn't, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, no, it is. And I just stopped talking to her after that. I have morale. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I was in wolf mode, but I wouldn't have did that. Then I go, and what happens next is pretty interesting. Remember I told you guys about Lexi? I go back to work a couple days later. Now I only have a week left, right? This is the final big game, and then there's like a couple little games, and that's it. So remember I told you guys Lexi said she would see me again on the final big game, which is a month later. Here comes that time. Final big game comes. There's mad people there. Baseball game, I'm working. It's the first day. For no reason at all, I'm getting reckless. I'm doing whatever I want at my job. Remember I told you guys I work on that giant slide? There's this wall, right? There's this wall that you got to climb up to get to the top of the slide. That day, for no reason at all, I was like, you know what? I want to learn how to run up walls and backflip off. Because it's something I always wanted to know how to do. I could do backflips at that time. I could do front flips. I could do 360 backflips, round offs. Mad nice on a trampoline. Still nice on all that stuff. I could do all that. I just could not run up a wall and backflip off. So I was like, yo, the best place for me to try this would be here. Essentially because if I run up the wall and I get broke, I'm going to fall on like a balloon surface. Like it's an inflatable giant surface. So I'm not going to get hurt. So I was like, let me practice this. So during my work shift, I'm sitting there running onto the thing, running up the wall, taking like 2 or 3 steps and trying to backflip off, landing on my neck until I actually got the hang of it. Like I got to use my momentum, go up 2 steps and flip off the last foot that touches the wall and go backward. So after halfway through the day, I'm starting to get used to that. People see me doing this because I'm doing it right in front of the customers. And they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. You know, it's really cool. And then I started getting hype. Now, mind you, I'm still in wolf mode. I'm in wolf mode with everything. That means not just wolf mode with girls, wolf mode for attention. I'm just doing everything possible to heal the void that I have in my heart that's going on internally, which is I want to be around the person that's most important, but I can't. And instead of riding out with her like I should have, meaning that I should have stayed with her and endured, no matter what. Instead of doing that, I try to go supplement for everything else. Like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to have sex with this girl. And I'm going to go do this with this person. And I'm going to go ride around with this person. So I'm just running around doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. I start running, I start flipping. My manager comes over. He's like, yeah, you got to cut that out. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Later that day, I see Lexi. Lexi comes walking out. She looks relatively the same. First thing I do, I'm working. I leave my post. I go straight over to Lexi. I give her a big ass hug. I'm like, yo, girl, where you been? Where you been? She's like, ha, 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 laughing and stuff. I'm talking to her. I'm like, yo, I lost your aim. Because the paper I got from her, what I wrote her aim on, I lost. So I'm like, yo, I lost your aim. I need your aim right now. She's like, all right, I'll give it back to you. So she gives it to me. And I'm like, all right, thanks. I'm like, wrote it down. I put it in my pocket, made sure it was in my pocket. I actually put it in my wallet. And I was talking to her. I was like, I'm like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. I don't get off until the end of the game, which means that's where you're leaving, right? Because I was like 9. She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, so then I'm going to leave early. I'm just like, how are you going to do that? I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave my job. And I'm going to go with you. She's like, you gonna really do that? I was like, real talk, I'm going to do that. I'm like, you don't believe me? I pulled out my schedule. I'm like, look, 9 o'clock. I'm coming over here to chill with you. I'm like, all right. She's like, yeah. I'm like, she's like, where are you gonna be? I'm like, where are you gonna be? She's like, I'm gonna be over here on these bleachers. I'm like, okay. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do a couple things and I'm gonna come right over to you. Okay. She's like, all right. I'm like, all right. So I go back to work. And there's something I always wanted to do. And I knew I was going to get fired if I end up leaving shift an hour early. So I wanted to do was, I always wanted to flip off of that balloon, that giant slide, I always wanted to jump off the edge, fall 3 stories down onto the other inflatable area on the bottom, like maybe 10 feet across. So just imagine being on top of a 3-story building and jumping to a 10-foot gap. It's not that big when you're that high up. And imagine landing on a giant inflatable, like maze or something. So in the middle of the game, I waited till it was like the 8th inning. I ran up on there because there wasn't that many people because it started getting dark. I ran up on the on top of the slide, and I'm on top of the slide, right? I switched positions with the person that's on top. I usually at the bottom. I'm on top. I'm looking around. I'm looking around. I'm looking around. There's crowd everywhere. Crowd everywhere. Now, mind you, the baseball stadium's on the floor, and then there's the bleachers, and then we're elevated, and then we're on top. So I'm like already 2 stories up, and I'm on top of that 3-story thing. So I'm pretty high up. I'm looking. Everybody's looking at me. They're like, "What are you gonna do?" Because I'm looking around, mad suspicious. I'm like, I'm jumping off this. I'm flipping off this. I swear to God. They're like, "No, you're not. You're gonna get killed. You're gonna get killed." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm gonna do it." First thing I do, wait till nobody's looking, just run and jump off the side, like woo, just sideways. I'm falling, boom, land on my back, but I actually bounce up mad high, and I land back on my back, and I'm like, oh, that didn't hurt at all. Mind you, I dropped 3 stories. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. I run back over there. I just to make sure I did it again. Whoop, jumped off. Boom. I'm like, that's crazy. I've never jumped off something so high and landed on something so soft. I'm like, it's over. I run back up there again. This time I noticed that when I look over in the crowd, I finally see Lexi. She's on the top of the bleacher looking over there like, she sees me. I'm like, oh, it's showboat time. Now, mind you, my heart starts pumping. I'm like, oh, it's showboat time. She's watching me. I see her tapping her mom. Like, it wasn't her mom. She see her tapping her aunt. Like, yo, look what this guy's doing over here. I'm like, it's time. Literally. Remember I told you guys I do 360 backflips and things like that. I know how to do these things. Hold on. Oh my God, y'all. If you guys seen what I was looking at, I'm not even gonna turn the camera over there. All right, look, so I get up on top. Lexi's looking at me. I back up a little bit. I back up all the way to the corner. It's about as wide as 2 cars. I run straight, jump off head first. I start front flipping, 360 front flipping. I'm just like spinning 360, front flipping. So I did a front flip with a 360, spinning. I get back over on my feet, so I'm headed back down, feet first, and I tuck in and land on my back again. So it looked like a front flip 360 with a front flip land on my back. They went crazy. Like the people I was working around was like, oh! I got up. I was like, yeah. Turn around. Manager's right there. I'm like, oh! I'm like, chill. I'm like, yo, it's not what it looks like. I'm like, it's not what it looks like. And he's looking at me like, what does it look like? I just seen what you did. I'm like, look, yo. I'm like, I told him straight up. I'm like, once in a lifetime opportunity. I had to do it. Don't act like you wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have did that. That's dangerous. You can get killed. I'm like, all right, boss. I quit. But I boogie. I run away from him. Literally, I'm like, all right, then I quit. I run away from him because I don't want him to tell me to get out the park. So I'm like, I quit. And I just bounce. I take off my uniform. I just run. And I run all the way to the bleachers where Lexi's at, and I'm just kind of sitting behind Lexi, like, and I'm just sitting there. And then Lexi's looking at me like, did you just really do that? Did I really see what you did? Did you get hurt? I'm like, no. Because where she was at, you can't see that there's an inflatable thing at the side, so I look like I was committing suicide. So she's just like, did you get hurt? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Long story short, I spent the rest of that night with Lexi. It was awesome. I'm like, yeah, son, this is what's up. Like, you know, I chill with her. We all chilling. I give her a kiss on the cheek. And I'm really feeling her at this point. I'm feeling her more than any other girl I'm talking to, more than Misha, more than Jennifer. I'm just chilling. I'm really feeling like we're just vibing. I'm like, yo. And she's like, she's the least attractive out of all of them. She's mad pretty. She's just big. I'm like, but you know, I don't discriminate. And she's just sitting there and she's like, yeah, you know, I really had a lot of fun. I'm moving. I'm like, you're moving? She's like, yeah, I'm moving to, there's pretty much a place way, way outside of where I live. I'm like, so you're not going to be here anymore, anywhere near? Like, I won't be able to holler at you, see you? She's like, no. And I'm getting a new phone number soon, so I'm not going to know what it is. So you're going to have to hit me up on AIM if you want to talk to me. She's like, but I do want to talk to you, so make sure you hit me up. I'm like, damn, son. I'm like, I'm never going to see you again, honestly, right? She's like, no. I'm like, I can drive and go see you. She's like, yeah, but my parents. I'm like, all right, I got you. I'm like, all right. As soon as she said that, instantly felt that pain again. That pain of like, damn, yo, like I can never, nothing just goes my way. Nothing goes my way. You know, there's Misha. She's cool. I could date her, but I won't date her. Just for some fact that it just will not do it. Jennifer, she's cool, but she doesn't really care for me. And then there's this cool girl, but she's kind of big, doesn't matter, but I can't see her no more and I can barely talk to her. And then there's Mia, who I want to be with, but I can't be with because everything in the world stops me from being with her. I leave that whole situation mad upset. I just leave. I was like, all right, yo, gave her a hug, gave her a kiss on the cheek, I left. I'm walking home and I just feel this feeling over me like, yo, I felt so bad. I'm like, yo, life is good, but it's so bad at the same time. So I'm just walking. I'm mad sad. I'm almost in tears. Now, y'all may not understand this. Let me explain it. I'm almost in tears for the fact that it's painful. It's painful to go through, to have so many positive things happening, but it's not important is the main positive thing that you want. It's like being rich, but you want a companion. So you can have all the money in the world and that can make anybody feel good, but when you don't have the companion, it's worth nothing. That's how it was for me. I was rich with experience and things going on in my life. I was rich with that. But I was poor because I didn't have the love I wanted. Remember, you guys got to keep in mind, all I wanted was companionship. Companionship was the goal. So I need to be with the person I want to be with and not have things go haywire. I get home, right? As soon as I walk in the door, Steve got this big ass smile on his face. It makes me want to slap the hell out of him because he's grinning at me. He's like, and I'm like, what? He's like, I got good news. I'll never forget this nigga's face. He said, I got good news. I'm like, what's the good news? You ain't gonna believe this. I'm like, what? Did we get more money? Did my mom get something from, you know, what's going on? You ain't gonna believe this. I'm like, you know what, forget it. I'm going in the room. I go in my room. Here he comes opens my door. He's like, guess what I just did? I'm like, what did you do? I'm like, can you leave me alone? I'm really not in the mood. He's like, all right, I'll leave you alone in a second. Let me just tell you what I did. So, you know, we're gonna be moving to Virginia. I'm like, when? He's like, you know, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I gotta go and take everybody on a trip to Virginia Beach so we can your mother can pick out what house she wants. Now, mind you, he got this face on like he's paying for it. He got this face. He's talking to me with this face. I literally want to punch him in his. I want to punch him. He's like got this face on like, yeah, you know, I gotta take her to Virginia because, you know, we gotta pick this house out that she wants so we can, we can get this going. And I'm like, and I instantaneously, and remember, you guys gotta remember my feelings right now. I'm instantaneously like, I want to break his jaw. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, you know what? That's cool. Hell, I'll even go with you to Virginia because my sister and her best friend were going, and my mom and him were going. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. Just for the simple fact that I wanted to chill with my sister and her best friend. I'm like, I'll go. He's like, yeah, but you know, we're gonna be moving. So I'm sitting there like, shit. I'm like, oh man. But then I had a plan. I'm like, well, I just won't move. I'll just move. I'll take my car and I'll move back to Peekskill, which is where I'm from. I'm like, I'll move back there with my car and they can go to Virginia and I'll be close enough to Mia. I won't have to worry about any of this nonsense. And then I'm gonna, I'll just do that. So mind you, as soon as I find this out, I'm mad pissed off, but I'm like, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. I go and I call Tamango up and I'm like, yo, son, they're planning a move. He's like, yo, we're moving too. I'm like, and at this point, I'm just like, yo, everybody's moving. I'm like, what the hell's going on? He's like, yeah, we're moving too. And I'm like, damn, yo. I'm like, damn. So long story short, we go to that vacation. We get back from that vacation. A week goes by. Everybody's getting ready to move. Tamango's getting ready to move. I'm getting ready to move. I get a call from Mia. I get a call at my house from her. And I haven't talked to her in like maybe like months. Almost a month or two. I get a call from her. And I pick up the phone and the first thing she says is, I gotta tell you something. She didn't even say hi. She's like, I gotta tell you something. This like kind of cracked voice, like voice in her voice. Like, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, and then I'll get back to next video. I'll let you know what that was. Everything's starting to go to shit, as you guys can see. Next video, when we get into this next video, I'm gonna go in and explain it to you guys. The last moments I had in Peekskill, the last moments I had in this place, the last time I see all these people. Matter of fact, most of these people I never ever saw again. So next video, episode 9, which will come to you guys tomorrow, I'll explain all that and we'll get into it, all right? It's your boy AsisGalvin, my life story. I'll holler at you guys soon, yo. 1. Damn, look at me. Getting all emotional thinking about this right now. Crazy. 1.